Hey everybody, Karen from Ask the Spirit Guides. Are you having a good weekend? I hope so. So, we have a lot to talk about today as always. So, if you're new here, welcome. Love to have you subscribe and be a member of our community. So, please hit the like button if you enjoy this content and you want to hang out with us more. So, read all the comments. People are so helpful. So, I'm just kind of facilitating conversation. There's no right or wrong, it's just different ideas. And then a lot of ideas come from the folks in the community. So read comments. If you ever feel discouraged, if you're on a spiritual journey, please join us. We're just kind of exploring a bunch of stuff. So you might notice some flickering in my glasses is because I'm watching the finals of the men's men's Wimbledon finals and singles finals. So I have to keep it on. I mean, it's on right now. So that's kind of exciting. And I've got a couple of messages for the upcoming week from the guides, and that's using the pendulum as always. So they spelled some things out for me. They also wanted me to give you a message from the Oracle of Mystical Moments. So I will list this below if you're interested in checking that one out. But we'll pull some cards from there. If you're new, I have all of my Oracle decks in its own little Oracle deck, and I shuffle them, and then I ask when a few drop. This is the one that dropped today. And I ask on my dowsing rods whether or not that's the cards those are the cards they want me to use, and they say yes. Okay, and I have just a few things in the news. I have somebody to recommend. A few things in the news to just kind of go over. One that I find very, very fascinating. And a channel to recommend to you. I'm going to do a little tiny bit of astrology just as reminders for this week. And then this week I'm going to be reading a few passages from here. We finished this book up in the Spirit Circle, Let Your Spirit Guides Speak. I will link this below in the description. And the Spirit Circle is done with this, but we're starting to take a deep dive. If you're in the Spirit Circle, and I sent out a survey yesterday to see which of the topics you wanted to do a deeper dive on. But there are a few things as I was going through the book to prepare this survey for the Spirit Circle. There were a few things I wanted. I thought, oh, there's some things related to what we were talking about last week in here. And I thought, well, I put down some page numbers. And so as I get to them throughout the week, I might be talking about some things in here. Okay. So a few things in the news. The first one, I'm obviously a little behind on this. So you guys might have heard this. This came out like 12 days ago, but I'm talking about the Fatwa that is against Trump. I think that's how you pronounce it. Hang on a second. Okay, well, AI says it's Fatwa, but I kind of like Fatwa. So Fatwa. Have you guys heard about this? I mean, you cannot make this shit up at all. It's just unbelievable. It's unbelievable that he has a Fatwa against him. I mean, actually, it's not, to be honest. Well, and I did ask the SGs about it, and I'll tell you what they said in a minute. Basically, they said, I said, what do you say about the Fatwa against Trump? And they said, this is what they said. He deserves it. Okay, so if you're wondering like what it is, I mean, I would not want one against me. I'm telling you that. Okay, so just real quick, in case you're wondering what it is, I find this fascinating. Okay. So a Fatwa, I'm going to call it Fatwa. Is it Fatwa? I don't know. I feel like it's called Fatwa, but again, I asked the pronunciation and they said Fatwa. So, okay, the Fatwa against, that's funny. AI says former President Trump. That's really funny, you guys. Because, the guides have been telling us that he's going down. And it's just funny that I guess I don't know. It's funny because sometimes this data says it's from last November. However, it has a date in here from June 29, 2025. So Anyways, okay. But it does say former President Donald Trump. Okay, was issued, so the fatwa was issued by Grand Ayatollah Nasser Makarim Nassari, I'm butchering that name, a prominent Shia cleric in Iran. This a religious, okay, so this is a religious call, okay? So basically it calls on, and it was released on June 29, 2025, okay? It calls on Muslims worldwide to unalive Trump, okay? That's what it calls on, okay? Labeling him an enemy of God. The fatwa was a response to perceived threats by F-45 and Israeli leaders against Iranian supreme leader. Okay. Well, it's funny that it's after Trump, but not Netanyahu. But okay. So the interesting thing about this is, I don't know if you guys remember, I totally remember this. There was a fatwa put against an author of this book in 1989. Okay, this is why you don't want one, okay? There was this author who wrote a book that was basically defaming the religion, okay? In one way, well, they felt it was, okay? And it was in 1989. Think about that. I mean, I was 20 in 1989. So, I mean, I'm 56 now, so it was a long time ago, okay? I graduated from high school in 87. So 18, yeah, so 20. Okay, so the person, Salman Rushdie, okay, so he had gotten this fatwa put against him, right? He actually, there was an assassination attempt on him in 2022. So, I mean, this thing doesn't go away. Oh my God. Oh my God. Would you, would you want a fatwa against you? Not me. Well, anyways, the interesting part of the story is that, well, there's actually there's two other people. So there's 4 people now in the U.S., Trump being one of them, who have a fatwa against them, or fatwa, okay? So Salman, the guy we just talked about, and 2 women who, one is in exile. She's been living in exile for many years due to threats against her life, and continues to write and speak out on various issues. Okay, so she's a feminist and speaking out against Iran, I think. Okay, or even, I don't know. It doesn't really say. Well, actually it does. Let's see. So she's a Bangladesh writer and physician who has lived in exile, including periods in the U.S., due to a fatwa issued against her for her writings, which were deemed critical of Islam. Okay. And then another person, all 3 of them are still alive, has been living in the United States and continues her work as a writer and an activist. So she's a Somalia-born Dutch-American feminist and critic of Islam. Okay, so she has faced numerous threats and calls for death as well. I mean, it's some crazy shit. Okay, so the very most interesting part about this, which is why I think Trump needs to be worried, is that it says the fatwa issued against former President F-45 has reportedly attracted online funding worth $40 million. The funds are presumably intended to support efforts related to the fatwa's call for action against F-45, although specific details on how the money will be used are not provided in the sources. So I just found that story very interesting. Very interesting. I mean, there's just certain things. He asked, I don't even know. I don't even know. You just can't make this crap up. Okay, so I just found that interesting. Let me know. And if you know if it's fat or fought. I don't know. I like fatwa. But again, I asked the guides today using the pendulum, and they said he deserves it. Ah! So, okay. Okay. So that was their opinion. They have opinions. Okay, so that, and then, I found this very interesting, and actually it does have to do with Gary economics too. This person I wanted to tell you about. Have you guys ever listened to Gary economics? He is back. He's been gone for like 3 months. That 3 months went fast. He's been out speaking in different countries, and he's a younger gentleman who basically has a kind of a big movement around what he has to say about economics. Okay. And he's based in the UK, and most of his followers are UK and US. And he's very worth listening to because he's actually quite wealthy himself because he's made a lot of money doing just talking on this. But he is talking about the problem, and I think we all know this, but all these other distractions, all these other things are not the problem. The problem is income inequality, and he talks about that. Okay, that's his whole platform is income inequality. And the video, he just came out after 3 months. Again, he was gone. He said goodbye 3 months ago, and he said, I'll be back, but I'm taking a break or whatever from YouTube. And he's probably got, I think he has like 1.2 million followers on YouTube, but I'm sure he's on TikTok and other places. So I don't know how many followers he has. I will list his channel in the description, okay, as I usually do if I mention other channels. But his video today, I watched the whole thing, it was like 25 minutes long. I loved at the end, he's like, okay, now I'm going to talk. He basically spent this video, usually he explains things, but he spent this video talking to different populations, okay? And talking to like the different parties, like the Labour Party, which is what they're called. There's a Labour Party in the UK. He explained what happens when income equality is present, okay? Is that, there'll be, let's just say in the US, you have the Democrats who will always try to, they're not making huge differences, but they're not widening the gap, okay? But every time they don't do something, then the extreme right gets stronger. And then they come in, they don't do what they should do, and then the extreme right gets stronger and stronger and stronger, okay? So he is trying to prevent, by educating, this from happening, because basically he's trying to prevent a worldwide takeover of fascism, okay? So, and he's got a pretty loud platform, and he's got a pretty loud voice, especially in the UK right now. And then he talks at the end of the video, he talks directly to the billionaires, and he says, what are you doing? What are you doing? You have plenty to live comfortably. What are you doing? Because he goes, the places you live, you don't want them to be, because it's basically going to, what did he call it? It basically takes down the government. Everybody goes bankrupt, basically, because they're squeezing out the middle class. They've already squeezed out the poor or the lower class. Now they're squeezing out the middle class. Okay. And then he actually talks to the lower class about the middle class in this video about, hey, we need to work together. Don't, you know what I mean? But then he talks, like I said, he talks to the billionaires, and he's like, what kind of society you're doing this to the society you actually live in? Like, why do you want to do that? You don't have enough? Seriously, you don't have enough? I mean, it's really good. So I just really think listening to him, it reinforces that besides the election integrity, which is extremely important, because if we don't have election integrity, it won't matter anymore. So hopefully, I know Smart Elections. I've seen several videos from the co-founder of Smart Elections on YouTube. I will post that below. I haven't actually watched them yet. But she's, I wish she had a little bit more of a following. But I just haven't had a chance to watch them. So I will post them in the description as well. But so we have the Smart Elections, but I think I think as a society, it's really, we just got to get this taxation on billion. They just have to pay their fair share. I mean, give me a break, It's just ridiculous. So, I mean, really, billionaires, what are you doing? I just love how his approach to that, what are you doing? So, okay. And then the last thing I want, and this is kind of an example of the shenanigans that gets played, and this has to do with the floods in Texas. So the camp that was flooded where a bunch of the girls had passed, or they can't find them, or kids, I shouldn't say girls, little children. I mean, they were little. And I read this article on Ground News, which you guys know I'm a fan of, because let's see. Okay, so basically, I don't know if you guys read this report, but FEMA removed, okay, this is FEMA, so this is the federal government, okay, removed, this is before the floods, dozens of Camp Mystic, that's the camp name, buildings from a 100-year flood map before expansion. Okay, so listen to this. So Camp Mystic lost at least 27 campers, counselors, and the owner. Okay, the owner died. Okay, or they haven't found them yet. The camp was located in a known flood zone called Flash Flood Alley. So the camp was literally in this zone called Flash Flood Alley and repeatedly sought, so the owner repeatedly sought and received FEMA map amendments, removing dozens of buildings from the 100 years. So as the Flash Flood Alley got wider, they kept putting in, asking for exceptions. Don't include this building, don't include that building. And not only that, but they added buildings to those sites in 2020. They actually expanded within the Flash Flood Alley. Okay, so the reason I find this very interesting, and it's not totally related, but it's just all about money again. It's all about money. And it's the issue with the Gary economics and the billionaires. And it's not even probably don't even think this Dick Eastland guy was a billionaire. I mean, it might have been, but but what are we doing? What are we doing? Again, we're poisoning people all over the world because a few corporations want to make a whole bunch of money with the food. We've got this person who's been asking for requests, exceptions. Why FEMA gave it to them? I mean, it's just, we got to change all this stuff. It just has to be changed, which, okay, leads me into, I don't know, I read that kind of stuff and I'm like, this didn't have to happen this way. It did not have to happen this way, okay? So remember that what I read last week regarding the Capricorn full moon that we had on July 10th, okay, that was only three days ago, okay? Shines a light on what isn't working. Shines a light on what isn't working in the world and in our own lives, okay? So just kind of remember that you might still be feeling a little tired, a little heavy, a little emotionally raw. Again, I'm not 100% sure, and I know, Faye, you had emailed me. I haven't read those yet. I'm not 100% sure like how long that energy lasts from the full moon, okay? So once I find out, I'll let you know. Or maybe it's not significant. Okay, but let me just read, since I'm talking about astrology real quick. So July 10th, this is just a little reminder because I need these reminders, okay? Like I read this stuff and I need to read it several times just to kind of remind myself. So this full moon that was again on July 10th shines a light on power, patriarchy, and performance. Our eyes are being opened to the emotional toll of repression, which is exactly, I think it's just interesting to me because I'm finding the stuff that I'm interested in right now, like this breakdown with FEMA and this camp, Gary economics, what he's talking about, the Fatwa, or the Fatwa. So our eyes are being opened to the emotional toll of repression, the damage done by pretending everything's fine, which is what this camp did. They're pretending everything's fine. It's fine. I mean, they were literally in a place called Flash Flood Alley. That's what it's called, Flash Flood Alley. Would you ever let your kids go? I mean, I'd be suing their asses. Would you ever let your kids go to a place that was called Flash Flood Alley? Maybe they probably didn't even realize, you know? So so the damage done by pretending everything's fine and the truth behind systems that only serve the few. So this was serving this example of the camps. It was serving the few. It was serving the people who are making money on the camps, but eventually definitely didn't serve the kids and the families who are hurting now, you know. This is a reckoning, and it's here that we find our resilience, okay? It's a reminder that we have the tools to rebuild with compassion, courage, and clarity. So we're getting some clarity right now. And this is when I think a lot of us are going to be saying, you cannot make this shit up. Like, how, what? I mean, you're going to start seeing connections like this. And I think this is brought on by the astrology as well. Okay. So it is interesting to see those connections. Then the messages we got for this week, they only had two actually. Usually like the last week they gave me more, and I'll review those using the pendulum again. Okay. So what they spelled out for me, which actually now that when they first spelled this out, I didn't make the connection until now. Okay. Of all the things we've been talking about. Okay. So the first thing they spelled out for me this morning was let it break. Now, I think now having read the energy right now after the full moon is let it break all over. So in the world and in your own life. Okay. So I know that feels a little scary, but this is when we're going to rely on what we were talking about last week. We're going to rely on us saying to our guides, if you feel fear right now, say, please heal my fear-based thoughts or my fear-based feelings. I am open to letting it break. I am open to letting it break so that I may grow and get the experiences that I want. Okay, I know that is hard to say, but I think if we lean into that and say, you know what, I'm going to trust myself. I'm going to trust my higher self to have planned an experience on this earth that will lead me to a much better place, even if stuff breaks. Okay, so let it break. And now it's just interesting, right, that they're giving us this message right now based on the full moon messaging. Again, part of this was it shines a light, the full moon shines a light on what isn't working in the world and in our own lives. Okay, so they're saying let it break. Okay, that's for this week. And I said, let what break? Now they didn't say personal, they did say government. Okay, they spelled out government right here. Okay, so however, I'm adding the personal part because we also talked last week about living in our own reality and, you know, paying attention to what's going on, because then you can do what you can do to be supportive. But ultimately, most of your energy and time should be spent in your own reality rather than feeling depressed about what happened in Texas, right? If you want to support what's happening in Texas, if you're called to do that, if you're called to go and volunteer, then absolutely go and volunteer. If you are called to donate money, then donate money. Just be careful where you donate it to. You know, I'm very suspicious of a lot of organizations now, even the Red Cross. And maybe they've cleaned up their act, but they have proven once before that they have stolen money from us. So to donations. So donators. So what we're called donators. Doesn't sound right. It's weird. So, you know, I mean, fool me once, right? So anyways, just be careful where you donate money to. I'm not dissing them anymore. Maybe they've cleaned up their act, but that happened, you know, and if they're going to, you know, do something like that, then any organization could, you know, so just be careful about where you're donating is all I have to say. I would just do a lot of research into it. Which is why when I donate things, I usually donate direct items like to a women's center. I send diapers every month that they're just on cycle, you know. and they just receive them every month. Rather than donating money, I donate the items they need, that kind of thing. Because then at least I know that the women and the children are actually getting the items that they've asked for. Okay, so that was a little tangent. Okay, in the second message they said, which I think is really interesting, they had 2 let it go messages this week, and the second one was just let it go. So let it break and let it go. It's interesting, right? So I said let go, let what go, and they said control. And then I said control of what, and they said outcomes. So let go, control of outcomes, even like fixating on it. That's why, you know, like when they give us dates and stuff, or every once in a while they'll say like they told us July, something was going to happen in July. Let go of like thinking about that. Okay, just let things happen as they need to happen. I mean, it's interesting that they say that, and you know, it gives us hope and everything, but they want us to let go. Let it go. So some people are needing to hear this today for sure. Okay. So let's go ahead and see what else they want to tell us. The Oracle of Mystical Moments. Oracle of Mystical Moments. And I'll be back later this week I'll do some reading out of here. But I think I'm going to skip that for today. My sister's coming today. So excited. And if you're wondering how my hair experiment went, it failed. I went 20 days without washing my hair. I did have that one, because I've been told that once after you get past a certain time, that everything makes your hair, it's just, you don't need to wash it. It makes it really strong. Your own microbiome kind of takes over or whatever. And yeah. You know, at first it didn't smell, but then like after 20 days, well, remember I told you I had flies dive bombing my hair? That was weird. And then I kind of liked it though, you guys. Like I liked the feel, like now it feels very, I mean, it's soft but it's very fine. I liked it when it felt thicker because it had oil in it. Anyways, I know this is too much information, but my husband finally, he was on my smell alert. He's like, yeah, it smells now. But it didn't smell for the longest time. So I kind of wonder if I'm detoxing too, just because I've been changing the way I've been eating. So I kind of wonder if that has something to do with it. But now I'll just I washed it and now I'm going to go again and see how long I can go. So I'm just saying the first time. I just thought I'd be able to go forever, but apparently not. It was fine though. Like it didn't itch or anything. I just rinsed it every night. So anyways, in case you're wondering. Now, I didn't do the prayer. I've already done that today before I did the pendulum and stuff. So the only reason I'm not going to do it right now is because they popped some cards out as I was talking. So, okay, Alcaraz is not happy about something. Oh, 6-4 Alcaraz, first set. Second set, 6-4 Sinner. Now it's 5-4 Sinner in the third, and Alcaraz is down a break. So he's got 3 points. Sinner's got 3 points to the 3 points to the set. So, okay. So you guys, hello. So lead team collective, correct? So I always call on the lead team collective, which is our guides, all of our guides together in this community. And when we did the pendulum messages, these came from the lead team when I did those. So are the cards you want to communicate in front of me? Yes, you guys are really slow today. What the heck? There you go. They picked it up a little bit. Okay. Do you want me to read both of the cards in front of me? No. Do you want me to pull another card in the deck? No. Okay, the card on the right? Yes. The card on the left? No. Okay, all right. Okay, so just the one on the right. Let's see what message they have for us for today. Oh, okay, it's a 7 card. 5 plus 2 is 7, so you see the 52. You take 5 plus 2, which is 7. So Sea Witch. Sea Witch. You guys pick up anything in the image? that might have a message for you? Let me know if you do. So Sea Witch, let's see what the Sea Witch is about. Okay, what do they want us to know? Oh, okay. So this small mermaid is called the Witch of the Sea. Instead of a fishtail, she has a jellyfish on the lower part of her body. Okay. Her hair sways behind her like flowing tentacles. She holds a windmill in her hand that propels her forward. A wide-eyed fish is her loyal companion on her ocean's journey. She is young and uses the magic of childlike thinking to dance in the waves, marveling at the wonder of life. Okay, innocence, joy of play, and wonder. Okay, so the only way I can interpret that for myself, and then you can interpret it for you, if we think about the messages for today, let it break, let go of control and outcomes. Okay, let it break, let go of control and outcomes, and spend your time in the joy of play and getting back to the wonder of this life that you're living. You know, again, getting back to the reality you're actually living, and experience innocence, joy of play, and wonder. So there's really not a message in this besides those. That's what I can see in this. Now, the let it break, we've been talking about that for a long time, the let it break message, in terms of we need to let things break. And as hard as it is, we need to let them break in order for us to see where all the holes are. And we can see it now. Can't you see it much more clearly? Hopefully we know when where the line is between the breakage and where to stop that break, you know. So, but again, if you have fear-based thoughts about that, let's actually say right now, actually it's a good idea. So I'm going to ask the lead team collective on our behalf. You guys can correct if you want to cut, clear, and cancel any part of what I say, or if you want to add to it. But I'm going to ask the lead team collective to support, guide, and give us clarity in the United States and in the world, especially leaders, to let systems break down enough, just enough, so that we can make positive changes from what we can, so that we can clearly see what is broken. Please guide the leaders in all of the countries to allow this to happen, but only to a certain point, so that we can climb out of it in a much better way. We don't want to get to that point, I don't think. And I just don't think they'll let us do that, these guys. So we got to ask them not to, though. And in the meantime, I'm asking for me, you can ask for yourself, to please heal my fear-based thoughts and feelings about all the different breakage that we're seeing, and to let go of judgment about it, to let go of hatred about it, to find forgiveness in it, because, you know, those are only hurting us, right? Because I'm just saying, those are the feelings I've had when I read, you know, some of this stuff like this camp, what's going on. I'm pointing to Ground News article that I was reading. So, you know, when I read stuff like that, it makes me really angry, you know? And so I just want to be able to observe and still look at those things, because I'm trusting that they're healing my fear-based thoughts about it, so that I can still look at it clearly. Especially empaths and feelers, we have a very hard time doing that. And so we probably even more so have to ask for that healing. Okay. I'm telling you, lately, every time I ask for this healing, I just feel stronger and stronger and stronger. So it's kind of cool. So, all right, you guys. So tomorrow is going to be very interesting. We are going to do a session, finally, a Q&A with the spirit guides about Epstein. I have been putting off doing it, but I feel like there's been a breakthrough because of the whole debacle of what's going on. I mean, can you believe that? Yes, I can believe it. I can believe it. It's so obvious. So now I feel comfortable, because everybody's talking about it. I'm like, you know what? Okay, I'm comfortable bringing it to the community at this point. I haven't been comfortable doing that because it's such a heavy topic, but it's just interesting. I mean, we're to a point. The one thing I'll end this in a second, but the one thing about Epstein that I find really interesting, especially because of MAGA, like the fact that they believe Trump, they actually think that the only people on the client list, quote unquote client list, are going to be Dems. Okay. Well, the most photographed person ever, even more than his life partner, Maxine or Grizel or whatever her name was, who is the most photographed person with Epstein? Yeah, a 45, the most. So even that alone, I mean, what is going on with MAGA? Like, hello, what's going on? Why can't you just see things for what it is, Anyways, we'll find out. We're going to ask the SGs tomorrow. So we'll see what's going on. But of course, there's no client list. Now, Lob had sent me a text last week and a link to the client list. Apparently, Anonymous has leaked the client list. But I haven't been able to find anything besides the link you sent me. So I didn't want to publish anything or talk about it until we find something. So Lob, let me know. Okay. Talk to you guys later. We'll see you tomorrow for Epstein Part 1. Okay. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.